Welcome to One on One. I'm Phil Tillman, your host. In our continuing effort to introduce voters to potential candidates for public office, we welcome into our studio Mayor Carl Anderson from the town of Del Mar.
Yeah.
You're Del Mar, Maryland.
Yes, sir.
Obviously.
Absolutely. Good side, Maryland side.
Yeah. Is there still a mayor on the
Yes.
Delaware side?
And we talk frequently. We get along great because we share a police budget, and we share a lot of services in town. We have joint water and wastewater, the high schools in Delaware, the elementary schools in Maryland. So it's a good thing we like each other. It makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
You make it work.
Yep. We're both Orioles fans. I'm a Ravens fan. He's a Redskins fan. So, that's always fun.
Yeah. Well, Carl, you are a candidate for the Maryland House of Delegates from 38B.
Yes, sir.
I think it is. Tell us a little bit, what's the new 38B? What does it comprise?
Well, they did redistricting 2 years ago. Some people refer to it as gerrymandering. And 38B encompasses all of Del Mar. And then it takes weird pieces of Salisbury. I mean, when you look at it, it's very odd. It
almost looks like fingers.
Yes, some neighborhoods are in, some neighborhoods are out. And then it wraps around out to Melson Church Road, works its way down to Walston Switch Road, hugs Route 50 on the north side, and then the inside of the bypass, and then Municipal Fruitland, and then it takes like Tony Tank and parts of Riverside and Camden Avenue and stops right around the college, and then it's an interesting district. It's different. There are a lot of folks that are in this district now that weren't before, and so it's been.
But it's primarily towns.
It's
not. There's not very much farmland in there.
No,
there is some.
There is some up in Del Mar, up on our end. We have some out towards Melson Church, and then on the other side out Atkins Road, a little bit out that way. But the majority of it is a mostly municipality district.
People who are served by water and sewer.
Yes.
And town government.
You call it the urban core of the county.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
It is.
Well, as mayor of one of those three towns that are in that district, you've got some local knowledge. Let's put it that way. Tell us a little bit about your background, Carl.
Sure.
Some of us older people remember the name Carl Anderton.
Yeah.
Which was your grandfather's name?
My grandfather, my great-grandfather, my father, myself, and my oldest son.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So your oldest son is the fifth?
He's the third because my grandfather had a different middle name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they had to throw a wrench in there. Otherwise, he'd have been the fifth. And I do have one picture of all five of us together.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a unique experience knocking on doors, meeting folks who knew my grandparents on both sides of my family. But, the paternal side, Captain Anderton, everybody, it's every day that I'm out knocking, it's a handful of folks that have a story or something. And, it's been it's been an incredible experience learning so much about my family's history, Yeah. And I'm very humbled by it. I mean, it's just... I can't put it into words really. It's hard to describe, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's a great experience, and I'm thankful for every person I've had the opportunity to meet. Over 5,000 doors I've knocked on. 125 miles we've walked. You wouldn't think there's that many streets in that little district, would you?
Wow.
But yeah. So it's been great. Getting back to who I am. I've been married 22 years. I met my wife. She won't like this, but I'm gonna tell a story anyway. I met her right outside here. No, I'm sorry. I met her at Food Line on Snow Hill Road, August 1992, Labor Day weekend. December 1st, I'm meeting her out here. She's going to SU, just started her first classes there. And she comes up to me and says her mother doesn't want her to see me anymore. Says I was a bad influence or some kind of nonsense like that. Yeah. And so I said, well, we can fix that. And she said, well, how? I said, let's just go get married. And she said, okay. So we went straight to the courthouse, and we picked a wedding date on the calendar. I was going to get married on December 12th, but it was on a Saturday. It's my parents' and grandparents' anniversary date. So we picked December 8th, and that's because my favorite baseball player is Cal Ripken. So yeah, and so we got married on December 8th after 90 days of knowing each other. It's been 22 years, and we have two sons, 18 and 14. My oldest boy is starting Bible college. He wants to go into the ministry, and
Oh, wow.
my youngest one's playing football up in Delmar in ninth grade, and Lord only knows what he's going to want to do with his life.
Yeah.
But I can't wait.
And here you are, the mayor. How long have you been mayor?
3 years. 3 years. I was a council member 6 years before that.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and,
tell us about your position on the Maryland Municipal League.
Sure. That was amazing. I got involved with MML because of the prior mayor, Doug Niblett, encouraged me to get involved, so I would learn a lot from there. And so I got involved. I got on the board of directors, and I worked my way up. And lo and behold, 156 other mayors, elected me president of the organization for a year. And the year prior, I was president-elect, and so I got to go spend a lot of time in Annapolis with the governor, lieutenant governor, and the House of Delegates, the Senate. And so the same thing with this past session. Past 2 sessions I've been up there. It's an incredible juggling act, working full-time, 2 boys at home, a wife, and being the mayor, which I probably invest more time than people know into being mayor. I mean, it's a thrill. I love serving my neighbors, and then being in Annapolis all the time. So
Well, how do you make a living?
I work for Stu Barr up at Barr International.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I do. And
Yeah,
Stu's
I
a
know
great
Stu.
guy. He's a nice small company.
Yeah.
Eastern Shore, bread and butter. I mean, they've been around forever,
Yeah.
and they're very good to me. They allow me to take off whenever I need.
Talk about 3 generations
Yes,
of bars.
it's another one.
Richard S.
Absolutely. Yep.
Barr, 1, 2, and 3.
Yep, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I know them all, and I get along with them all well, and it's an incredible place.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm
Good.
glad to be a part of that family as
Yeah.
well.
So you traveled all over the place, especially to Annapolis as
Yes, sir.
president of Maryland Municipal League, which is kind of a lobbying organization for towns.
It
isn't
is. It's you probably know MACO through
I
the
knew
county
Maryland
association.
Association
Yep,
of Counties.
yep.
Yeah.
Maryland Municipal League's the same thing, and it's an education source. They have an academy that you go through, and you become a fellow of the University of Maryland, College Park. So I went through and did that as quick as I could because I just wanted to learn as much as I could, as fast as I could. And we work on issues in Annapolis that affect municipalities, like how we use our revenues, and double taxation, and things of that nature. And during my time as mayor and as a council member, the highway user revenues, road money, was taken from us, and no explanation. We're working on our budget, and all of a sudden they say, no, 90% of your road money is gone, just like that. And they promised to give it back. Never came back.
Never have.
Never made its way through the legislature. It got lost somewhere along the channels, and never made its way back. So as president-elect, I had the opportunity to sit down with Governor O'Malley and Lieutenant Governor Brown, and we worked out a one-time infusion that year, $15 million to go to municipalities. And we almost lost that. Montgomery County and Howard County, Baltimore City thought that they should get
More.
Yes, of course. So we worked really hard to keep that as it was, and it almost didn't make it through appropriations, but we were able to keep it as such. And then this past year we got a larger amount. We got an extra $1 million during my
Is
term
that
as
what they
president.
call the pothole money or something?
No, that's a whole
different-
separate fund for the
Okay.
counties. Yeah.
Oh,
And,
I see. Okay.
yeah, the county's got $10 million this year.
So the 15 million was
just for-
strictly for municipalities.
Right. And then this year we got 16 million, just over that. So that put me and Delmar almost at 50% of what we got before they took it all.
Wow.
And you talk about a juggling act, but we make it happen. We get things done, and we've avoided any tax hikes. We've stayed under constant yield, and so we're doing really well for what we have.
What's the Delaware side of Delmar experience with the state of Delaware? Do they have anything like a highway user tax?
They do. They get money from Dover. Theirs has never changed. They get it every year, and they're doing street projects. And so people come into town, and they're like, you got all these new streets on the Delaware side. What are you doing? And I said, well, let me tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
And, we were able to do a big street project. As soon as I got elected mayor, first thing we did, we brought in the residents. I'm a team player. If I'm doing something in your neighborhood, you're going to know about it, and you're going to have input. And the way that street is designed is because of the neighbors' input. And
So who better to to help.
You're living there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the last thing you
That's
want
a
is
good idea.
So that's just, I want to be the mayor that I want to be, that I would want to have. And that's somebody who's going to give me their cell phone number. Every person in town, I know I'm rambling, but that's all right. You got me started.
That's all right.
Every person in town has access to me through my cell phone. They don't have to call town hall. They do, but that's fine. But, they call me, I answer, and I try to take care of it as quick as I can. And as we're knocking on doors during this campaign, over 5,000 people now in 38B have my cell phone number, and they call as well. And when I first started doing this as mayor, I gave out the home number. And of course, my wife, she said, look, if you want to give out this phone number thing, you better give out a cell phone number, not the house number. So we quickly changed that.
Yeah.
So, but I get calls at 2 a.m. from people who work overnight that have questions. Sometimes I answer, sometimes I don't, I'll be honest. But I call first thing in the morning as soon as I get the voicemail. But, I want to be the guy that when you have an issue, that it's going to be looked at. If it's possible to take care of, it's going to be taken care of. And if it can't be taken care of, it's going to break my heart, but I'm going to explain to you why. And it does break my heart. There's some things that I wasn't able to handle, and it tears me up. It really does, because I just think things should be, just do it.
What, Carl, do you think are some of the major issues that are facing the state of Maryland?
Well, jobs. Our tax burden is just ridiculous. Every 4 years we hear, we're going to go to Annapolis, we're going to work on jobs, we're going to work on our tax structure. And then 4 years later you found there are no jobs and the taxes have gone up. So if fixing our tax structure is raising our taxes, stop fixing it. Leave it alone. Stop fixing it. It's not working. So jobs, taxes, and the onslaught of the poultry industry. I'll tell you real quick, as MML president, spending all that time in Annapolis, I had the opportunity. You remember the chicken tax, the 5-cent tax on every biddy delivered to a chicken house on the Eastern Shore. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of taxes that would have been on these farmers. So the House bill never made it. It never got dropped because I worked with the delegate who authored it, one of the delegates, the main sponsor. And after explaining to him how the Eastern Shore is related to the poultry industry, it's our lifeblood, my job, everybody's job. Businesses all through here are either directly or 1 to 2 steps removed from the poultry industry. Every restaurant, every gas station, the people that go there, the people that eat there, work for Purdue or work for Mount Air. So, that would have been damage that we wouldn't have been able to overcome. So he pulled that bill back. And I went back and testified on the Senate bill because that particular senator, Rich Madaleno, pushed it forward anyway. And I was the only elected official from the Eastern Shore to testify on that bill. I sat in there for 7 hours. Mary Beth Carrozza was with me in the room. Jim Mathias was there as well. And I waited 7.5 hours in a room about as hot as this room is.
Oh, wow. Now, Mary Beth Carrozza is running from
38C.
Is it C?
Yeah, C is for Carrozza.
We've had her in here
Yeah,
as well.
She's great. She's really great. She is, absolutely.
And she worked in the Ehrlich administration.
Yeah, that's what I'm told, yeah.
As did Johnny Mounts, who is a candidate from
Johnny's a good guy.
From St. Michael's.
Yeah, he's going to be a great representative.
37B. In 37. Yeah, I can't, all these numbers, 37 that way and
38 this way, and then further up is 36,
Yeah.
But the Eastern Shore is primed for a renaissance. It really is. I believe it within my heart. I work well with the local elected officials here. We're going to have a new turnover in Fruitland. I look forward to meeting with those folks when they get elected in a few weeks. Jake Day and Jim Anderton, I talk to them constantly. What can we do together? What are you guys doing? And here's what we're doing. And, Salisbury is beginning to blossom, but the state has got to get out of the way. It has to. It cannot continue with this oppressive feel. Anybody trying to open a business, I've met several business owners who say that if they had the chance, they'd go to Delaware. Now, that's good for my friends in Delmar, Delaware, but it's bad for us. I don't understand the mindset in Annapolis. It's like, you hear all this talk of this one Maryland, my good friend says all the time, but unfortunately in this one Maryland concept, Wicomico County is dragging behind. We need to get Wicomico County on the cart so we can have a one Maryland. And the rules and laws that are made in Annapolis benefit Montgomery County and Howard County, but they're really detrimental to us. I mean, like to go back to the chicken tax thing, and the phosphorus management tool is another fine piece of art that's coming our way. You know, all these things, they want people to take and load up chicken manure on trucks and ship them out to Frederick County. You think our roads are bad now without road money? Can you imagine the damage that would do to the infrastructure here? But aside from that, it's just ridiculous. You know, they sit up there and they say, you know, that the Eastern Shore is polluting the bay. It's odd. I can go out right now and crab and fish and be just fine and dandy. Well, you drop a line up in the harbor in Baltimore, tell me what you get. Mm-hmm. You know, toilet lid, a tire, some brake drums. You're not catching no crabs up there. You're not catching no fish. Yeah. The problem with the bay pollution is the Susquehanna River and the Conowingo Dam. Nobody wants to go take that on. They want to pick on us because we're an easy mark. We're an easy target sitting here, you know. Our representatives don't speak up loud enough for us. I'm not saying go up there and bang your fist and all this stuff, but you got to go up there and educate folks as to what life is like here. Mm-hmm. And that's not being done. Mm-hmm. You know, the old way of doing things, we got to do it different. It's not working.
Yeah.
You know.
So you would do things differently than the current occupant of the delegate seat,
Absolutely.
38B.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
The one thing that you've got to hear once in a while is, well, Norman is the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, and therefore he can bring home the bacon. What's your answer to that? And when you go up there, you'll be the freshman delegate.
Right.
What's your answer to that?
Sure. Well, I'll take care of the last part first. Being a freshman delegate, I'm fine with that because I've met many delegates. I have many Democrat delegate friends now. You know, that we don't agree on hardly anything at all, but we get along well. You know, you find somebody, 80% of the time you're going to disagree, you know, but you find that one thing you agree on. And the way it worked with Delegate Robinson is we both agree on having fresh air. So we built our relationship off of clean air, you know, we communicate whenever we need to, and we get along just fine. And I realized to get anything done as a freshman Republican delegate, it's going to take mountains. I realize that. So that's why any bills, any ideas I have, I'm going to hand off to my Democratic friends so they get passed. You know, I've learned that of being up there. Mm-hmm. You know, I've learned a considerable amount of how to get things done and do it the proper way. As to the comparison with my esteemed opponent, and that he brings home the bacon, what he actually brings home is a payment book. You know, it's one thing to go after bond bills, you know, for this and for that and these things of that nature, but it's really just a loan. A bond is the root word of bondage. It's a debt. That's all it is. So bringing home that payment book, you know, everybody talks about the latest was $55,000 for the Willard's Lions Club you read about. It's going to cost us $100,000 to pay that loan off. It's a 15-year term loan, you know. So even still bringing home some bond bills for something of importance, you know, it's not totally detrimental. But what is detrimental is doing it while you're running a constant structural deficit of hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, you've just heard, now they're projecting in the next 2 years, it's over a $400 million structural deficit. So that means you're borrowing $400 million from next year to survive this year. And it just keeps going on, it keeps going on, it keeps going on.
I think we have heard that for quite a few years.
Yes, and we were told that by the chair of appropriations it was going to be taken care of in 3 years. A third. It is ingrained in my brain. And here we are 9 years, 8 years out, and we're still waiting for that first, second, third that's just not coming because they won't control the habit of spending. They're addicted to just spending money that they don't have. You have the Chesapeake Bay Trust Fund that was established with the flush tax that was just doubled, you know, but they've taken $200 million out of that to cover this hole up. You know, the pension fund for teachers and state employees, they're taking money out of that. You know, why would you ever take money out of a pension fund? That is the acme of foolishness. I'm sorry to say that, but it is. I mean, you know, that being insolvent is not going to gain you anywhere. You see, Detroit, that's where we're going. You know, that's where we're going. I mean, it's plain to see the writing's on the wall, and that's why I'm running. You know, that to get a road money back, to help bring some jobs to the shore. There's two easy fixes for that, and I'm going to share them with you. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to give you details. Okay, the first one is corporate and personal tax rates. Personal properties for your small business owners, corporates, or if you want to bring anybody here that makes anything, those need to be put in line with Delaware and Virginia so we can compete. If that cannot happen, because it'll be depend on the outcome of the governor's race, we have the business enterprise zone. Right now, it's a good tool, but it's used wrong because it's very segregated as to where it is. You know, our unemployment rate is over 7.5% here in Wycomico County. In Salisbury, it's almost 9%. And these are figures just came out as of August. So we're a full point over the state average. So we're fourth worst in the state as when it comes to unemployment. I say any urbanized area that is over the state's average unemployment rate becomes a blanket enterprise zone. So that
automatically.
Yes. Anywhere that there's an existing building or a place that can be built that attracts jobs, we do whatever it takes to get them here to make it happen.
Yeah.
We've got to get back to work. And we're, you know, these little piecemeal things, they sound great. You read it in the newspaper, you see it on the news. Oh, it sounds good. Nobody can use it.
Help us understand the basic principles of an enterprise zone.
Yeah, you know, it's tax breaks and incentives to get you to relocate here, and it gives you a time, like, you know, we're looking at doing the same thing in Delmar, where your business tax will be phased in over 10 years, and then you're on par with everybody else. Because the way I look at it, 10% of something is a lot better than 100% of nothing.
That's right.
You know, because right now we're getting 100% of nothing. So bringing jobs here, people back to work, income taxes, people are spending money. That means those new businesses on the plaza will thrive. People will want to go out and eat. People want to go buy some coffee, some gourmet things. Nobody can do that now. I mean, people are doing it that can, but there's a lot more folks that would love to do that that just can't. They're just happy paying a cable bill, you know.
The enterprise zone concept has worked very successfully in the industrial park.
Yes.
And you must have enterprise zones in or around Delmar, don't you?
No, we were told that we don't qualify. Yeah, right?
No
That's
kidding.
what I'm talking about.
And that's
yeah,
something.
we were told we don't qualify. If I had that, I'd be out there working it. I'd be working it. I just
Sure.
need the tools in the toolbox. I'll build you a house.
Yeah.
You know. So, but that's the thing that we're dealing with. You know, if you made that a blanket enterprise zone, as long as that jurisdiction is above the state's average, you'd really see some things happen. I believe it with all my heart. I do.
Yeah. One thing that just struck me when you were talking is your experience with working with the other side of Delmar, which is in another state, and seeing examples of this, that, or the other, either things done well or not done well or whatever, gives you a unique perspective, I would think, on how to get along and get things done.
You have no choice. We have no choice. You know, you look at Salisbury, you look at Wycomico County Council, you look at Fruitland, they have to build a consensus of 2 or 3 people. You know, for me, I have to build a consensus of 6 or 7 people from 2 states. You know, to get things done, we have to deal with Annapolis, we have to deal with Dover. And, you know, it's 2 separate mindsets, 2 separate fiscal, ideological people, you know, Dover and Annapolis. You know, Delaware is in financial condition that I wish we were in Maryland. You know, so seeing that, and you know, they're prudent with their money and they're fiscally responsible with it. And then you know, on the Maryland side, you know, in Annapolis, it's like, you know, if Prince George's or Montgomery County want it, they get it. The heck with everybody else. You know, I'm sick and tired of seeing folks paying these taxes. The rain tax, really? I don't have to say anything else on that. We'll move on. That took care of it on its own. But all these different fees and taxes that are slapped on folks here, you know, they say, oh, it's just $20, it's just $30. No, it's another 20, it's another 30, you know. That leads me into another thing to parlay off what we've been discussing is the seniors here can't make it on retirement because of these constant fee increases, you know. And to have the experience I have, seeing how things run in Delaware versus Maryland, I think gives me a very unique average. I think a lot of folks see me as somebody young who may not understand what's going on, but I think that I have a repertoire built that I can go up there and be very effective right out of the gate.
What's the tax rate in Delmar, Maryland, as opposed to, and Delmar, Delaware, I mean, are you proud of the tax rate that you've been able to
No,
maintain?
no,
up
but
there?
I will tell you, our rate's lower than Salisbury and Fruitland.
Is it?
Yeah, we have the lowest full-service municipality in Wycomico. We are the lowest
Yeah.
by several pennies.
And how is it over on the other side?
It's a whole different world. They haven't been reassessed since 1974. So, you know, it's very difficult to attract somebody to come and pay 2013 assessed value in Maryland when you could go right across the line and pay something out of assessed on the value of 1974. You know, now the municipality isn't as big as ours, so a lot of the development you see on the Delaware side is in the county. The municipality assessed in '06, so they're still running 6 years behind us. You know, and
Well, Sussex County has had a history of a level tax rate.
They haven't touched
for decades.
The county. 1974 was their last assessment, and they don't need to because everybody's moving to the beach and they're willing to pay the prices to live on the ocean, and that takes care of the rest of the county. They have a beautiful government model in Sussex County, compared to what we have.
I used to run into Dale Dukes occasionally, who was long time served in Sussex County.
Yep.
And he said, "You boys need to come up here and figure out how to run county government." But he would say,
Yeah. So
of course, we didn't like to hear that.
No, of course
county
not.
Council. But
no.
anyway, we don't have much time left.
Sure.
Priorities in Annapolis
Sure. Yeah.
for Carl Anderton.
Absolutely. Jobs, taxes, bringing our road money back. You know, making this place as exciting to work as it is to live. Absolutely.
All right, you've got a couple minutes left. Pretend this is the 2,501st door you've knocked on. What do you say when you knock on a door and people come to the door?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you this. You know, I'm Carl Anderton Jr. I'm so blessed to be the mayor of Del Mar. It's my home. I love it. You know, but I'm from Wycomico County. I have childhood memories in Fruitland and Salisbury, and it's very dear to my heart. My grandparents lived in Salisbury, aunts and uncles. It's family. This is home. You know, so I want to go to Annapolis to work for us. I have great ideas on how to get things done, and I know that together we can make it happen. We can bring jobs back. We can work on our tax structure. We can bring our road money home, which I know you'd love to see your street paved just like I'd like to see mine. Over the next few weeks, not months, it's been so long. For the next few weeks, you're going to see commercial after commercial touting the great things of my esteemed opponent in the upcoming. And he's a very nice individual. But you're going to see commercials and billboards and signs and mailers touting all these things that have been accomplished. And I want you to know that those things come with a price, and that price is coming out of your wallet. It's coming out of your retirement. It's coming out of your quality of life. And we can do better. If I didn't believe we could do better, I wouldn't be wasting your time right now. But I thank you for the opportunity to serve you. And anybody from Del Mar watching, you have my heart. I love being the mayor of that town. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mayor.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your willingness to serve,
Sure.
for the service you've already given to your community, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And thank you for being with us also right here on Pack 14.